screen has frozen. You're moving.
Okay, it's recording.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shawn Jones, and I'm the CEO of the iNetrepreneur Network. And today I have with me a dynamic individual who is full of life, who works with entrepreneurs in many different capacities all over the world. Her name is Suzan Chin Taylor, and she is the CEO of Creative Raven and the Intuit Group. Suzan, thank you so much for being here today.
And thanks for inviting me to be here.
So, Suzan, you are incredible. I can't say enough wonderful things about you, but I can tell everyone how wonderful you are, but I'd really like you to share what is it that Creative Raven is all about and your Intuit Group.
Okay, well, it's two phases, but they actually two pieces that kind of work together. One grew out of the first. Creative Raven is a full service marketing and PR agency. We focus a lot on content strategy, marketing strategy, brand awareness, and basically helping small to emerging businesses, mid-sized businesses, basically capture the attention of their audience, educate their audience as to what is their story? Why should I do business with you? And that is where I'm seeing a shift where people really need to focus their efforts, because we're now in that virtual space. And in that virtual space, people don't get that advantage of meeting you in person. And so we have to create trust. And so that's what we are. We're storytellers, first and foremost. And I specialize, it's kind of an interesting thing. I fell into a niche. I specialize in the water, wastewater, and civil infrastructure industry, working with manufacturers, municipalities, and contractors that provide the services using technology to municipalities. We call ourselves sewer rats. So,
wow, that is really a niche industry. And
it is. And Intuit Group grew out of that because the industry as a whole, especially municipalities, they're facing the silver tsunami. And they're having a difficult time with workforce development, recruiting, retaining, training. And so the Intuit Group is the training arm that specializes in that market niche to help with workplace culture development, leadership development, to create dynamic workplaces that people want to come into and stay, and encourage other people to come into the fold as well. Because it's a hard industry. It's hard work. But it's vital, absolutely vital to everybody on the planet.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about workplace and the environments and trends that have started to form as a result of the change in the world, would you say are some of the top trends that you're seeing in the workplace? What is it that people are wanting in order to work with someone or to be a part of their company?
I think a lot of it is the need to develop good, strong workplace culture. And now with everybody working from home, we're losing that human connection. And so it's very important for employers and even small entrepreneurs that are working with subcontractors remotely to establish that connection. And it all starts with understanding yourself first. Because when you understand yourself first, then you have the ability to read and understand others, their stresses, their motivators. And when that happens, I call them the aha moments. When I've done facilitations in workshops, you'll see people that you see the light bulb go on over their head as that's why she reacts that way, or that's why he likes to do it that way. And instead of trying to force someone like that square peg into the round hole, we start to learn, wait a minute, if I let him do it this way and he lets me do it this way, we're both going to be happier and we're both going to be more productive and we're going to have fun at work. And so again, it's creating that dynamic where we really begin to understand and accept each other as human beings. And that we're all driven by different stressors and motivators and how we show up in the world. Is that
That is spot on. I mean, there are a lot of stressors, and you have to really know what your limits are and
Hmm.
the limits of those that work for you or with you, because it's about accommodating in my opinion, to a certain degree.
Yes. And it's not accommodating to the point where I would say to someone, you need to change your whole personality in order to fit. No, it's understanding he likes to receive information from you this way. I'm not
Mhm.
asking you to change your personality, but if you can frame what you need to communicate in a way that he or she is going to be easily able to accept it, comprehend
Mhm.
it, understand it, and be able to work together, it's just going to make everything so much smoother. It reduces conflict as well. One of the dynamics, I work with a lot of small companies where it's family dynamics, and it's the ability to turn destructive conflict into productive conflict.
Mhm.
And in family run businesses, that can be very dicey because you've got father, son working together, husband, wife working together. They know that something needs to change in the company. They need to say something to the other person, but yet they're afraid sometimes to speak up because, well, I got to go sit down across from them at the dinner table tonight.
Mhm.
And how do we separate that? How do we work together so that we're achieving a common goal without it interfering with personal dynamics?
Yes. Yes. Now, you touched on about storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've had questions, people ask me, well, what type of stories should I share on social media or even when I'm up on stage or I'm talking to clients? Is there a wrong story to tell? Is there storytelling etiquette? Where do you stand on this, Susan?
I think it depends on the audience. You need to make it relevant. You can't be sharing something about what happened with you and your dog if you're presenting at an accounting conference. It's it has to have some connection to what you're trying to convey. It can be anecdotal. I truly believe that storytelling, marketing is storytelling.
Mhm.
When I do presentations, before I even get into my content, I poll the audience and I said, all right, question for you. Define marketing in one word. And I get all kinds of different answers. Every once in a great while, I'll get someone that gives me the right answer, and that's education. Marketing is the ability to educate prospects and customers in a way that they will be compelled to do business with you. And at the
Wow.
end of the day, he who tells the best story wins. And when it comes to content, tell lots of different stories that speak to you as the expert.
Mhm.
I love relating problem solution stories and examples to make it relatable so someone doesn't feel like, oh, well, how could that possibly be for me? Making it on a human element. And when you cite yourself as an example and what worked for you, it's almost like you're sharing your experience, your wisdom, your hope. Because often as a small business owner, you're out there by yourself. And I know for me, I sometimes feel disconnected. And especially now since the lockdown with COVID, just being able to connect with people and hear what they're doing in their story, it it enables me and empowers me to feel better and not so alone. That,
Mhm.
yeah, I could do that. Does that make sense?
It really does. And through the content, especially, and I'm just going to tie this back into social media because that's where
Yeah.
you're really going to make that what I consider the first connection point with your prospect or continued relationship with your clients. There's also a line between the content that's written, but also the imagery that goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. They have to make sense and connect together. If you use animation and interesting pictures that tie in with the copy, you're definitely going to get more interaction and more views and more shares. I've just noticed a trend that video content gets
Mhm.
more likes, more views, more engagement than static content. The only exception to that, if it's a really controversial news item or a really shocking news item where people start to read the article and it's one of those, what I call make your blood boil type of, like,
Yes.
why is this happening in the world? That people will start to engage with that. But the power of video, and it doesn't need to be James Cameron, Avatar type of production value. It can just be simply you on your iPhone conveying from the heart what you know and what can help others.
And with your companies, Creative Raven and Intuit Group, you're able to help entrepreneurs achieve their branding goals and their workplace environment. So you really have two companies that can help what I call from the inside out or the outside inward.
Yes. And I think the reason why the Intuit Group is so near and dear to my heart is that I believe that every member in the company is part of the marketing and sales team.
I would agree.
Everybody is selling because they're all going to be interfacing with the customer at some point, either directly or indirectly.
I agree.
And your customer can feel the vibe of your company instantly.
Yeah.
Whether employees are happy, whether they're energized, whether they're passionate, or whether they'll even feel it when there's misery. And if somebody's not happy on the job, they may just go out into the field and take it out on a customer unwittingly. So,
and that happens. It happens all too often. So, Susan, if somebody would like to talk to you about your services that you offer, how can they get in touch with you?
Best thing is to visit me online. I am active on LinkedIn under Susan Marie Chin Taylor or under Creative Raven. You can visit either of our websites, creativeraven.com or the Tuit Group, which is spelled TUIT, little acronym, getting around to it, which we all should be doing at time to time. Or I can be reached by phone. I welcome cell phone calls, 760-217-8010. Text me. You can book an appointment online through my website, and I give free 30-minute consultations on a variety of subjects. And so look forward to connecting with you and having a discovery call and see if we can help.
Susan, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share how you're helping entrepreneurs achieve and exceed their goals internally within their own companies, but also to really create an overall experience for their clients and for their employees. I mean, it's so needed, and especially with the way everything's been going to online. So thank you again for being here today.
And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
For those of you who have just tuned in, we have heard from Susan Chin Taylor. She is the owner of Creative Raven and Intuit Group. She is also one of our speakers at the upcoming Art of Connection Global Summit on September 21st. For more information, you can visit the event site at theartofconnectionsummit.com.